So fucking quiet. What do you say, Will? You good?
Let's do it.
All right. How's the angle? All right, here we go. Sanity. Dana's Looking at Podcast, episode 21. New location, Will. How are you feeling? How are you doing?
Our podcast can drink, Dan. Let's go.
It can drink. So let's. I like that. So segment of the day. Create the incentive. So this is actually an idea I'm stealing from Andrew Yang. I heard him talk about it a little bit early in his candidacy. But creating the incentive for folks to move around the country, right? So say you're born in Wyoming. How do we create the incentive for that person to move out to Nevada or Colorado or California or even crazy far east? I think it would really broaden people's horizons and help with the the ability to see other folks and how they live. I think that's a good incentive. How do we do it?
So I don't know. I feel like I feel like a lot of people do have an incentive to move, and a lot of people who don't want to move, it's often by choice. But I think if we want to give people the means to make that choice, is that more what he's talking about? Like people don't have the means to do it, or are you saying people don't have the motivation to?
I think it's a little bit of both, right? It's just like I think this comes off as kind of daunting for a lot of folks. It's like new area, I mean, even just from personal experience, like moving up, 45 minutes from where I was before, it's like, oh, I don't know, I'm kind of comfortable here. But once you actually do it and see a new part of the world or the country, I feel like you just broaden your horizon significantly. It's not just international, but even just how folks live. So I guess we're not really getting to the meat of it. The meat of it would be like, what can we do from like a situational, giving folks a business or I don't know. What do you think? Will?
Yeah, well, I think if certain types of work. A lot of people are considering doing this, especially if you're working remotely. I think a lot of people are like, man, I love working remotely. As soon as it's safe to, I'm going to start moving around a lot. And I want to keep working remotely, and I just want to kind of be nomadic, but try some new places. So I think
the digital nomad is pretty hot in the streets these days.
But things that are very difficult to give you the means to travel are going to be like really low paying jobs. So like if you're not terribly educated or can't command a virtual salary, then I think that's where you got to start. If that's something you want to incentivize people to do, they got to see a way to do it too, right? It can't just be this like.
I think it's more around the barrier to entry. The barrier to entry is really high for folks. So to be continued on that. Like
this is actually okay. So I'm actually going to switch up a little bit of my logical fallacy. It's the same fallacy, different example. So
there we go.
For this one, someone moves to a new place, meets three people, walks around once, and says, "Wow, what a fascinating new land I live in. I understand it perfectly." What's the logical fallacy there, Dan?
Well, it's slightly different than the one that you posed pre-show. To me, at least, the one pre-show seemed like a straw man. This is like kind of an extrapolation or painting with a broad brush, sweeping generalization fallacy, right?
Yeah, it's similar. So the one pre-show was like you see this person who you kind of know on Facebook, your friends, but they post this thing with a really strong opinion on a certain topic, and you kind of extrapolate from there a whole assortment of things about who that person is. And so this is, I think it could fall under a couple different fallacies. Lest we don't want to fall into the fallacy that just because we put a label of it being a fallacy, it doesn't necessarily mean it's wrong. But this is mostly a composition one. So you look at a slice of the whole picture, and you say, oh, because this small slice is this way, then the rest of the pie is the same. And it's basically just like extrapolating from small amounts of data. I think people are so guilty of this, and I think one thing that's really been, at least one thing I've noticed, is like we're kind of like throwing all of our weight behind a couple of data points for determining whether someone is like a good or bad person. And I'm just like, especially like politics, like it's super intense, and I think that's just like such a shallow way to think of other humans. And granted, it's probably derived from people's shallow beliefs in the first, people haven't really thought through their beliefs in like a deeper, profound way. So
people need to move more. We need to create an incentive for people to move more in senior places. And
I think meeting people, so much. Like I just noticed like in Texas, like when I see a pickup truck now, like I don't really like think, oh wow, that's so god awful and ugly. I'm just like, oh, it's another truck. Like I've been normalized just by the environment I'm in. I used to think, oh god, who decides to drive that? If you're in California down like somewhere, like you see a pickup truck, you're just like, oh, okay, this guy, right?
I love trucks on record. I don't think I really contributed that much on your fallacy there, but I like that. So let's go to everyone's favorite segment, tip of the day. So I believe that we're all procrastinators on something, whether it's a big scale project, whether it's a little task that we really don't want to do. One tip that I like is to have a procrastination hierarchy. So you have like 6 things that you're working on, and then the first thing you don't want to do, and then the second thing you don't want to do, but that third thing you're still doing and it's still productive, but you're procrastinating still. So it gives you that dopamine hit of procrastination, but also you're still being productive.
Oh, you know what? So this was actually something I verbalized my feeling I had the other day because I was putting off doing something. I forgot what it was, but instead of doing that, I like practiced piano, which is also something I'm like interested in doing more. And I was like, oh, this is great. Like,
right.
I get the.
But you still get that feeling of like the dopamine like instant gratification, like, oh, I'm procrastinating on this, but like I'm still being productive. So,
right. So I guess it's a case of you really got to get the goals clear, right? So like your procrastination activity, it's really actually got to be something that's semi-related to a goal too.
Right. Yeah, so it's like, oh, I really don't want to send these, 10 work emails. I'm going to go work out. Or like, oh, I don't really feel like working out. I want to work on, playing the piano or something like that. Or, work on practicing guitar is like the third thing. So, I'm going to practice guitar for 45 minutes.
Right, so it's like a healthy,
but like you still
healthy procrastination options. I like that. It's like stocking your procrastination fridge with only healthy options, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
But you can't choose a bad one. Everything in there is fine.
Yeah. It's interesting. Like, it goes back to the environment thing too. It's like, I was actually, just not having the things that will be negative influences. Like for me, it's like I know if I have a TV, I'll fucking watch it. It'll just be staring at me all day saying, watch me. So I just can't get one. I can't get like ice cream. If I put ice cream in that fucking freezer that you probably can't see in the corner, it's just screaming at me all day, eat me, fucking eat all, like not just a bite, like eat the whole gallon, bro. Like, so I just can't have those things. If I know, then they're kind of out of sight of mind. So
it reminds me the best example of willpower I've had explained to me was like an hourglass, and like you want to make sure that you save your concentration for the right moments. And so I think going grocery shopping with your purchases, right? If you can have some concentration, then you're set. All right, here's a magic wand. So we have, some federal bans on certain substances, foods, et cetera. You have a magic wand to remove a ban from one substance and then but you can't just destroy it. You have to put it back on something else. So you're an enlightened dictatorial regime, Dan. What What do you do?
The benevolent dictator, probably the greatest form of government that's never existed or will ever exist. But when you post that pre-show, the first thing that popped in my mind was tobacco. I just don't see tobacco as, like, especially smoking. Like, this shit is so bad for your lungs. And then I get really sad when I see folks that have had, like, mouth cancer from dipping. But I'm gonna go with soda, bro. Soda just needs to go. Like, if you think about how much money that soda ends up costing us as a greater, society, from like the amount of diabetes and the amount of obesity that we see, I think that's rule number one of like living a decent health life. You can't be drinking your sugar. If you want to eat your sugar, if you want to eat ice cream or eat like a baked good or something like that, I think that's much better than drinking. But if you start drinking that shit, soda's gotta go, man.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you think so? My first thing with tobacco and comparing to soda is just like, okay, do we go like is the prohibition tactic the best, or is it better to do like this extreme anti-marketing that tobacco does? It's just like, we're gonna make sure everybody knows that everybody else knows that smoking fucking kills you. Like, everybody knows this. So when you're smoking, right? Like, if you walk into a room now, everyone in the room knows that smoking's bad for you, right? But like, if you drink a soda, if you order a soda at McDonald's, right? Is there that judgment? Not at all. It's like, oh man, that's a soda.
Yeah, but they posed that question in whatchamacallit, in what's the McDonald's documentary with the guy who made it for 30 days there? What was the
Supersize
it was like Health Class 101 for middle school. Yeah, like the guy posed that question 15, 20 years ago whenever that movie was made, and yeah, it still hasn't been stigmatized like smoking. I don't know if we'll get there. Yeah, the other question would be around the black market, where that would pop up, because I'm sure undoubtedly would. So that was when you cut me off pre-show, but we'll cut it off here.
Hey. Ooh,
episode 21.
Clap. Look at that.
What would you do? You didn't say what you would ban.
Oh,
I kind of went off on a tangent there, I suppose.
No, it's all good. I think I would. I don't know. Part of me wants to just like not ban anything. Like,
yeah, I'm kind of libertarian when it comes
just
to
like full libertarian, because I mean, okay, look, if someone is like well educated, if someone is well educated, I think it should be completely illegal. I thought most of those things should be heavily restricted to give to children. Like, if you're under 18, like, we're kind of assuming that if you're later into high school, you'll have friends in college who can get it for you, whatever. But like, I mean, that's just, I feel like, unavoidable.
Yeah.
But like, no middle schooler or early high schooler should, I think, be tapping into those things, just because of like physical development and neurological development stuff, right? I don't know. That's just my.
When you say those things, you mean like hard drugs? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, that should still be like very much illegal for those people. But I think it should also carry like consequences for adults. So, for example, if you do use those, and you like, there should be a way back. Like, if you do choose to do that, like, there should be a way back to normalcy that's like not punitive. Right? But it should also carry a consequence. It doesn't have to be jail time, but it should be something like.
I feel like you could do just like some recreational heroin. No, is that not a thing you could?
True, but I'm saying like someone who like ends up costing like public health stuff like thousands and thousands of dollars because of their decision making. It's like, okay, you're now.
There's got to be a disincentive there for sure.